Welcome to the 2025 Small Car National Replay for Friday night. For the 2026 season, we'll be looking for sponsors to help keep this kind of content available. This is just a sample of what we can do and hope to bring you next year. If you're interested, feel free to reach out.
All right, heat race number 1 and 3 for our Sport Clips Crate Late Models as they continue their qualifying in the Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals. Again, 3 heat races for now. Mike Raleigh, Davis Lipscomb from that front row as they make their way down. Going to be Josh Dotson, the 29, and Josh Williams back there in row number 2. And behind them, once again, 25 is Scotty Nelson, and the 08 being powered by John Love. 8 laps, once again, the distance in our qualifiers coming up tonight. All right, field working the way through the Leonardtown Ford start zone. Off at turn number 4. Green is in the air, the first competitive race of the night in tonight's Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals. Green is out. Raleigh, the top qualifier, and Davis Lipscomb side by side. Give Lipscomb the outside advantage as he'll take the lead down in turn 3 and 4 in that 71 machine. Raleigh tucks into second. Third is going to be Josh Williams in the 29. Now it's going to be Love from the back of the field. He gains 2 spots on lap number 1 and puts the 08 up into 4th. Dotson dropping back into 5th. And then Scotty Nelson, the 25. Good qualifying, the street stock version of this small car national. Still running the Jamie Coyne limited late model. He rounds out the order here in lap number 2. Field getting strung out just a little bit. Few car length separation for Lipscomb over Mike Raleigh as they put lap 3 on the board tonight. Josh Williams, his first appearance of the year on the 29. Driver hailing out of Stanton, Virginia. Looking to see if he can get a good run in tonight's and this weekend Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals as halfway goes up on the board. 2 car length separation between the top 2. Everybody's single file right now. No change as Lipscomb tries to stretch that advantage out. He brings the 71 back to the stripe. Again, Raleigh in the number 12. He took the top qualifying effort and a very surprising deal. He was the 16th of 17 drivers. Sometimes as the track wears on in time trials, it'll slow down a little bit or it'll speed up. And Mike Raleigh had the answer. And right now the Huntingtown, Maryland driver trying to hunt down the 71 of Lipscomb, who's got about a quarter of a turn advantage with 2 laps to go. Still the 29 of Josh Williams in 3rd. The 08 of Love followed by the 2D of Dotson. They are the top 5 as they work their way back for the white flag in the first of 3 Sport Clip Crate Late Model qualifiers. Checkered flag coming out. First heat race of the night. Davis Lipscomb in the 71 out of Mechanicsville, Virginia, taking the checkered flag. Going to be the 12 of Mike Raleigh, the 29 of Josh Williams, 08 of John Love, and the 2D of Josh Dotson. They will be the top 5 in the first 8-lap qualifier tonight for the Sport Clips Crate Late Models. Again, great job for Davis Lipscomb winning that battle with Mike Raleigh on the outside of row number 1 on the initial lap and holding on to secure the 8-lap heat race victory in the first of 3 qualifiers here tonight. All right, heat race number 2 going to be the 14C of Chuck Bowie, the 2025 champion out of Welcome, Maryland. He'll be on the pole. 08B of Jacob Burdett, one-time feature winner at the Hagerstown Speedway and a good run last weekend in crate action. He will be on the outside of row number 1. Second row, first appearance of the year, the 99 Gunnar Walls out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. And to his outside, the RT9, the defending Crate Late Model champion here at Potomac Speedway. From Delmar, Delaware, that will be Ben Scott. Final row in heat race number 2, it's going to be the 92J of Brian Coe Jr. out of Jessup, Maryland. And to his outside, the 15 of Braden Armel out of Winchester, Virginia, his first appearance of the 2025 season here at Potomac as well. 3 heat races, another one coming up after this as our latest group of Crate Late Models hits the track. All right, Chuck Bowie, a 3-time winner this year, starting up front, joined by the 08B of Jacob Burdett. Here we go, 8 laps again the distance. Heat race number 2 in the Leonardtown Ford start zone for the Sport Clips Crate Late Models. Well, Green is out, and Burnett trying to do what Davis Lipscomb did, and that's win the battle on the outside, and he will indeed, as he'll power around Bowie. But here comes Bowie down to the inside as he retakes the lead off turn number 4. That'll drop Burnett into second. 99 at Gunnar Walls. Right now, good run for him. He's holding on to third, with Ben Scott dropping back into the number 4 position. Brian Coe Jr. and Brayton Armel. They bound out the order right now as they work their way back to the stripe. Bowie leads them here in lap 2. Again, that 14C. Chuck Bowie's done well on his own, winning the championship here at Potomac, doing well in Hagerstown. Kyle Hardy also jumping in the car, winning the Hub City National portion for the Great Late Models at Hagerstown in Chuck's car, and then last weekend taking the crates at Winchester. So that car has seen a lot of success here in the 2025 season, and right now Bowie stretching the lead out on Jacob Burdett. They look at cross flags halfway, this time by 4 in the books and 4 to go. Burdett will reign second, Gunnar Walls in third, followed by Ben Scott and Brian Coe Jr. Two to go as they work their way back to the stripe here in a moment. And once again, it is Chuck Bowie in control by about a quarter of a straightaway advantage over Burdett. He's comfortable over Gunnar Walls as our top 5 evenly spaced out. Good distance between them all as they'll work back for our Summer Breeze. 1 to go this time by. Lap for Bowie, the 3-time winner and champion this year, works his way into turn 3 and 4 and having a good start as he takes round number 2 of heat races in the Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals. The OEB of Jacob Burnett, the 99 of Gunnar Walls, the RT9 of Ben Scott, and the 92J Brian Coe Jr. They will wind up in the top 5. Chuck Bowie continuing that success as he picks up the second qualifier for the Sport Clips Crate Late Models. That car has also had Kyle Hardy in victory lane a couple of times, once at the Hub City Nationals at Hagerstown, and then last Sunday at the rescheduled event at the Winchester Speedway. Chuck himself having a great season here at Potomac and also did very well at the Hagerstown Speedway in Crate Late Model action. So it's been a good season for the Welcome Maryland driver. All right, third and final qualifier for the Crate Late Models, which will wrap their stuff up for the night. Here we go. Kyle Lear in the 149 at Severna Park, Maryland, the one-time feature winner in crates this year. He'll be on the pole. He'll be joined alongside 2-time winner Ed Pope III in the 11P out of Hanover, Maryland. Row number 2, the 41, John Davis out of Dunsville, Maryland, and the 17L being powered by Mark Linton Jr. out of Millington, Maryland. And the final spot in the third and final heat race, the 51S, powered by Garrett Donnell from Matthews, Virginia. Coming up in a few moments, we have got 4 hobby stock 8-lap qualifiers. They will be coming up, followed by the qualifiers for the streets, limited late models, and then the feature events for Strictly's and U-Cars. A lot of action still to go here tonight on night number 1 of the Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals. Hey kids, there's Racer, the raccoon. If you haven't seen him, there he is. I've seen him a few times, just haven't had a chance to say hello. So Racer's there. If the kids want to stop by and shake hands and get some photo opportunities as we get set for our third and final Sport Clips Crate Late Models feature event. All right, green is out, and Ed Pope shot out of a cannon out of the outside of turn 2. Blowing around the 149 of Kyle Lear and grabbing the lead here on lap number 1. It'll be Lear in his second. The 41 in third. That's going to be John Davis, followed by Garrett Donnell and the 17L of Mark Linton Jr. Pope having a good season, 2 feature event victories, and oh so close to victories at the Hagerstown Speedway this year in great action. Not his best last week. And we hoped was going to be a little bit further up in the field, but still had a decent night. But now the Pope has got himself dialed in and looking good, coming off of turn number 4 as he puts lap number 3 on the board here early. It'll be Lear still in second. Penn in the 41. Megan Davis, I should say, holding on to third. He's about a half turn back. Garrett Donnell in the 51S started last, gained 1 spot over Mark Linton as we get set for halfway in our final crate late model qualifier of the night. Taking it back through 1 and 2, 5 laps in this 8-lap qualifier in the books as he'll be looking at the 2 to go sign. This time off at turn number 4. Almost a turn advantage over the 149 of Lear. One-time feature winner so far in the 2025 season here at Potomac Speedway. 4 different winners, which were Pope, Bowie, Kyle Lear, and Jacob Witt. And our Birch Oil, Birch Propane Caution coming out for the first time in competition. The 17L of Mark Linton spinning down in turn 4. And that will bring a late race caution out here and get the field tightened back up. Again, 4 hobby stock qualifiers coming up in a few moments. 8 laps will be the distance for those cars tonight as they tend to the 17L of Mark Linton Jr. Oh, Ed Pope, he really shot out off of turn 2 around Kyle Lear in the early going to grab that lead. And ever since then, he has built himself a pretty good lead, and now Lear will be on that bumper on the restart. 41 of John Davis, 51S of Garrett Donnell, the other drivers still out there in 3rd and 4th. Looks like we might need the hook on the 17L of Linton, so it'll be a few moments. So again, we do have the heat races to wrap things up, and that's as far as qualifying. Tonight, the Strictly Stocks and U-Cars will have their season-ending 20-lap events. That will be part of their Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals tonight. Tomorrow, the SCDRA Roadsters, they will be here, but they will also have hot lap qualifying, and then a 20-lap $300 to win feature event to join the Limiteds, Crates, Streets, and Hobbies tomorrow. And we mentioned the Fall Clash race, but that will not be the last race of the season. The following weekend, coming up on Saturday, November 8th, it's with an Enduro 100. We have not seen an Enduro here in many years, and I would say I remember my times back in the 90s with Pete Cameron when he was the promoter here. We normally used to have a Friday night show, and then on Saturday we'd have a couple of our lower divisions from Friday race, and then the big Enduro 100. And we had some great names that raced back then in Enduro competitions. Some of those names I still see and hear, or at least see around at the racetrack. So we're looking forward to a great Enduro 100, and that will be coming up on Saturday, November 8th, and that will unofficially be the last race of the 2025 season here at Potomac. All right, Linton 10-2 in the 17L. Didn't need the hook, but he is going again, so we will restart the field here in a few moments. Safety vehicles head in. We have got 6 down, 2 to go in our final Sport Clips Crate Late Model Qualifier. All right, field leaving the Leonardtown Ford start zone. Restart zone, I should say, as they get back to green. And the final 2 laps. It'll be Pope still on that outside. Lear loves a low line, but couldn't quite make that move work. And Pope again grabs a pretty comfortable lead. Lear will be in second, Donnell in third. Linton in fourth with the white flag. Summer Breeze, 1 to go in the air this time by. Pope in control as he heads it down the back straightaway, and I believe this will be his final event of the 2025 season. And Ed Pope the third, taking the checkered in the third and final Sport Clips Great Late Model Qualifier. 149 to Kyle Lear, 51S at Gary Tedell, 17L. Mark Linton will be the top four. All right, so the qualifying of the night is over for the Sport Clips Crate Late Models. Next time you'll see them as warm-ups tomorrow evening as they come back here to Potomac and get set for their 25-lap, $2,000 to win feature event here in the latest round of the Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals. All right, the Three Mules Welding Hobby Stocks, they'll be up next on the track. Again, a 26-car field signing into the pit area, which equates to 4 heat races that will be coming up 8 laps in distance, and we will set that field for you for heat race number 1 here in just a moment. Fans, again, don't forget, stop down and see the folks at MB Sports Collectibles. Pick up your souvenirs, as well as some Kyle Hardy, Kyle Lear Racing merchandise, some Hoosier Racing apparel, and NASCAR collectibles. Again, down at Marshall's MB Sports Collectibles trailer. Beautiful trailer full of a lot of great merchandise. So stop on down and see them tonight. Also, our own souvenir stand set up here with some good photographs from Kevin Freer Photography. Say that 5 times in a row. Good action shots and winter circle photos and some other souvenirs are also available there as we get the John Davis machine off track and our hobby stocks get set into the St. Mary's Lighting pit area. All right, here's how they'll line up in qualifier. Number 1 tonight, 8 laps again the distance. And number 9, Jason Wilkins, top qualifier earlier tonight from Strasburg, Virginia. He'll be on the pole, joined by the 21 of Eric Hansen out of Charlotte Hall. Row number 2, the 19L, Colin Long out of Mechanicsville. And the 89, Craig Newcomb out of Hanover, Virginia. Row number 3, the RG3, that's Richie Gibson out of Huntingtown, Maryland. And the 26 of Robert Martin out of La Plata. And the final spot, he did make it out for time trials, but here comes the 78, Evan Faust out of Knoxville, Maryland. He will be shotgun on the field in qualifier number 1. Strong 26-car field of our hobby stock division drivers being brought to you by Three Mules Welding. Wilkins, a big winner in the pure stock version of the Hub City Nationals at Hagerstown Speedway earlier this year. Evan Faust, as we mentioned, he's a 2-time winner. Talking about some of the outside drivers, but nestled in between them, he has got a lot of local talent that's gunning for heat race number 1 as we get the green flag. It'll be Wilkins grabbing the lead. Hansen trying to see if he can snare it from the outside. Can't do it. 21 tucks in his second. Colin Long, the 19L, not with us last weekend, brings that pure stock back. He's currently running that hobby stock in third. And right now, the top 4 made up by the 89 of Craig Newcomb. Richie Gibson challenging him, and right behind him, the 78 of Evan Faust as the leaders make their way back into turn number 3 and 4. Couple car lengths edge for Jason Wilkins as he works it back to the stripe. And trouble for Newcomb. He almost lost it. Gibson had to be hard on the brakes. And that cost both drivers. A 78 of Evan Faust able to get around. And meanwhile, up front, here goes Hansen to the inside. Looking for the lead here on lap number 3. Trying to get to the inside of Wilkins. Hansen to that 21 machine. Back to the stripe, halfway on the board that time by Hobby Stocks this year. Eric Hansen not able to score victory. He had a lot of tough luck. And this would be a biggie if he could rebound from this and take away a Southern Maryland Small Cars Nationals Championship. Right now, just looking for a heat race win and a good qualifying run. Brings the 21 back, but caution is out. Being brought to you by Birch Oil and Birch Propane. Yellow is out here pretty much right at the halfway point. 26 of Martin coming to a stop just at the entrance of pit road off at turn number 4. Good move by Hansen moments ago, getting to the inside of Jason Wilkins and snaring that number 1 spot here at the halfway point. First of 4 qualifiers for the hobby stocks. We'll get him pushed off into the infield. Wilkins in second, Long in third. Evan Faust in the 78 was able to take advantage of a almost spin by the 89 of Craig Newcomb. And when that happened, Richie Gibson had to hit the brakes hard to avoid contact, and that gave Faust opportunity to get around 2 cars, and that has put him up into 4th position. All right, caution lights are out. We get set to get back to green. Hansen, Wilkins, Long, Faust, and Newcomb, followed by Richie Gibson, and he raced number 1. Heading back into the Leonardtown Ford restart zone. Wilkins going to see if he can re-snare that number 1 spot. He pulls to the inside. Drag races on. Hansen had him by half a car like that, the staging area. And Hansen almost lost it, gathers it back in and holds the lead. Going to be Wilkins right behind him in second. They got a good 5-car length gap over Colin Long in third. He's got Evan Faust to the 78 to deal with back there in the number 4 spot. Wilkins again charging down to the inside. Dead even as they work their way back into turn 1 and 2. And going to be Hansen's high side momentum for the moment, and he will eventually edge back in front of the number 9. So now Wilkins elects to go top shelf. See if he can do a crossover move off of turn number 3 and 4. And again, drawing down even. Trying to dime in the turn just a little bit and see if he can work to his advantage. And again, Wilkins and Hansen side by side, but off of 2. Hansen again with that edge and slowly pulls that 21 back in front. White flag will be in the air this time by. It's going to be our Summer Breeze 1 to go, and Hansen with a handful of Jason Wilkins all over that rear bumper. Colin Long remains in third. Evan Faust has given him plenty of pressure. That 78 remains in 4th as leaders sent down the back straightaway. Final time as our checkered about to come out, and Eric Hansen's going to take qualifier number 1 tonight. Jason Wilkins in second. Colin Long, Evan Faust, and Craig Newcomb, they will be the top 5 in our first of 4 hobby stock qualifiers. Well, again, some great battling up front. Eric Hansen, the 21, coming away with heat race number 1 tonight here for the 3 Mills Welding hobby stocks. The 9 of Jason Wilkins. Great pressure and battle. 19 of Colin Long, 78 of Evan Faust to the 89 of Craig Newcomb. They will be the top 5 in that first qualifier. All right, number 2 coming up. It's going to be Trent Clemens. He was third a week ago in the 01 machine in Mechanicsville, Virginia. He'll be on the pole. To his outside, the 23B, Brian Hubbard at a Port Haywood, Virginia. Row number 2, the 6 of Connor Cheseldine at a Bushwood, Maryland. And to his outside, going to be the 40 of James Sneed out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. Row number 3, the 40B, Corey Bradley out of Hopewell, Virginia. And the 19R, powered by Bud Randall. Final spot in heat race number 2, the 83R, Dave Rutherford Jr. out of Glen Burnie, Maryland. Mentioned Clemens having a very good run last weekend. He was right behind that battle between Ralph Price and Mason Hansen, which was a wicked one. Great racing for those two, and Clemens was sitting right there. He's got to be listed as one of the many favorites in the hobby stock version of this year's Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals, as he will lead them from the pole as they hit the Leonardtown Ford start zone in heat race number 2. Again, 8 laps a distance. Clemens will lead him into 1 and 2, starting down low and going to the middle to high groove. Going to be the 23 of Hubbard checking in his second, Cheseldine to third, and the 40 of James Sneed. Right now the top 4 as they come back to complete lap number 1. And Clemens stretching that lead out to about 3 to 4 car lengths. It's the same gap for Hubbard back to Cheseldine. And Cheseldine likewise a good lead over the number 40 machine of James Snead right now, who's currently in the number 4 spot. Back behind them, Dave Rutherford Jr., the 83R, and trying to close up the ranks. Holding on to 5th, 19R Bud Randall, rounding out the field. Laps complete as we close it on halfway in our second of 4 hobby stock qualifiers here tonight. All Trent Clemens in the 01, the Mechanicsville, Virginia driver, working off at turn number 4. He'll take the cross flags this time by. Still going to be Brian Hubbard at 23. Comfortably in second. 6 of Connor Cheseldine holding on to third. 40 of James Snead and the 83R. Dave Rutherford Jr. ran the better part of this year in the Strictly stocks and has got himself a hobby stock machine for the Nationals. And right now running in 5th. Two to go, the indication this time by, as it'll be Clemens leading them back to the stripe. Good half straightaway lead for the Mechanicsville, Virginia driver. R Bud Randall having tough time negotiating that 3-4 turn. He's about a half straightaway in front of your leader as Clemens takes a summer breeze. 1 to go this time by. No change in the running order. The closest battle right now going to be between the 40 of Snead and also the 23R Rutherford. He closes up ranks as Clemens brings them back through 3 and 4. Randall's lap machine up above. Trent Clemens will take the second. 3 Mules Welding, hobby stock qualifier. Going to be the 23 of Brian Hubbard in second. The 6 of Connor Cheseldine will wind up in third. 40 of James Snead. And the 23R, Dave Rutherford Jr., well, he spins it off at turn number 4. So that's going to give the 19R of Bud Randall, I believe, the 5th spot in tonight's second hobby stock heat race event. So Rutherford able to gather it back up, and he will bring him across the line. Driver that ran a lot of strictly stock races this year of that 83R machine as he wraps up the second hobby stock qualifier. Coming up in heat race number 3, it's going to be the 28H of 2025 3 Mules Welding hobby stock champion Mason Hansen, the 4-time feature winner. He'll be starting up front. To his outside, the 79X, that will be Tyler Miller out of Manchester, Maryland. Row number 2, your defending hobby stock champion, the 56T of Ralph Price out of Mechanicsville, and the 92, powered by Casey Gordon out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. Final row in heat race number 3, going to be the 34, Ken Ellis out of Port Tobacco, Maryland, and the 9P being driven by Justin Pullen out of Mechanicsville, Virginia. All right, field stack back up in the Leonardtown Ford start zone as we get set for the latest 8-lap qualifier. Mason Hansen will bring them to the green. And Hansen will grab that lead. 79X of Tyler Miller, the Manchester, Maryland driver, will be in second. Gordon and Price will be side by side for third. As they come back to complete lap number 1, give it to Price. Trouble for Ellis and Gordon. Ellis spins it, and Gordon coming to a stop in turn 4. Our Birch Oil Birch Propane Caution out in heat race number 3. Gordon just had some issues. Her and Price were in a pretty good battle for that 3rd spot and just pulled up to a stop here off the 4th turn. Ellis in the 34 also spinning, so the Birch Oil Birch Propane Caution out here in the early going. Still to come, one final hobby stock qualifier. After that, we will have 3 qualified events for the Adams Property Works Street Stocks, 2 for the Lexington Park Chevrolet Buick GMC Limited Late Models, and then the feature events for Strictly's and the U-Cars coming up tonight. So Gordon's 92 getting a push down the hill and into the pit area. Tough break. Glad to have the Fredericksburg, Virginia driver with us all season long in hobby stock action. Caution lights are out. We're sending it back to green. One lap is complete here in tonight's third of 4 8-lap qualifiers. Mason Hansen at the point. 79X of Tyler Miller, the outside pole sitter in second. Ralph Price, Justin Pullen, and Ken Ellis, the top 5. All right, field set to get back to green here in qualifier number 3. Hansen brings them back into 1 and 2. 4-time feature winner. And very good season for that driver. Justin Miller having a good, Tyler Miller, I should say, having a very good run early in second spot. Price holding on to third as the field comes back for lap number 2. Lap 3 on the board, and right now Mason Hansen in control. Ralph Price trying to put the pressure on Tyler Miller. Car length separation between those two. Price running the low line. Miller a little bit better groove for him. Right now he's in the middle, the high side. Holding on to that number 2 spot is going to be Hansen taking the cross flags for halfway this time by. As we get set for 2 laps to go, no change other than Hansen just stretching that lead out by half a straightaway. Miller still holding off the 56T of Ralph Price. That's been the battle for the number 2 position. Josh Pullen, the number 9, holding on to 4th. 34, Ken Ellis, rounding out the top 5. Summer breeze, 1 to go is in the air, this time for Mason Hansen as he crosses the stripe. Trying to have what has been a very memorable year. 4 times the winner of the track championship and looking to see if he can put himself in a good qualifying starting spot for tomorrow's feature event at the Jim Gardner Senior Memorial. It's going to be Hansen, the 28H, take in the 3rd qualifier. 79 of Tyler Miller will be 2nd. 56T of Ralph Price 3rd. And the battle for 4th, Ken Ellis not done. Spun early, but Josh Pullen in the number 9 will edge him. He'll get 4th, and Ellis in the 35 will round out the top 5. So the final qualifier coming up for the Three Mules Welding Hobby Stocks tonight. 78 of Mikey Latham, the one-time feature winner out of Chaptico, Maryland. He'll be on the pole. 2 is outside. 77, Justin Hatcher out of Mechanicsville, Maryland. Row number 2, the number 8, Billy Kraus out of Nanjemoy. And the 75, Watson Gordon out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. And the final row in this 8-car starting field to make it 6, going to be Logan Miller in that 15 out of Westminster, Maryland. And the 25, John Hankins Jr. out of Jamaica, Virginia. The final qualifier tonight for our Three Mules Welding Hobby Stocks. Field off in the Leonardtown Ford start zone. Latham and Hatcher, 2 of our regulars in hobby stock action, taking the green flag. Hatcher with a good jump on the start as they head off into 1 and 2, and he'll climb the banking. Nothing to do there. Latham slid underneath and grabbed the lead. Going to be Billy Krause up into second. Watson Gordon, the 75, third. Hatcher trying to rebound and still running that high groove in the 77. Issues on that car. And he drops to the back end of the field. And Hatcher still staying on track. Now looks like he's going to drop it down to the low line here on the front straightaway and headed off into the pit area. Meanwhile, Mikey Latham, very solid lead by about 10 car lengths over the number 8 of Billy Krause. 75 of Watson Gordon will now move up into the number 3 position, followed by the 15 of Logan Miller. John Hankins Jr. at that 25. He will round out the top 5. Street stocks and their 3 8-lap qualifiers will be coming up next, followed by the limited late models here on Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals qualifying weekend. And it'll be halfway this time in all cruise control right now for Latham. Gordon almost and does. Oh, he just does hold on. The 75 of Watson Gordon spun it one way, then the other, and still held on. Paid the price, just lost 1 position. Car's intact as he brings the 75 off at turn 2 and holds on. Meanwhile, Mikey Latham in the 78 back for lap number 5. To Billy Krause remaining in second, good 3/4 of a straightaway back. Then the 15 of Logan Miller in third, 75 of Watson Gordon, and then the 70 making the 25 being powered by John Hankins Jr. They are the top 5 as Latham took the 2 to go sign that time by. Summer breeze, white flag back in the air in our final hobby stock qualifier of the night. Oh, Mikey Latham in the 78L as he brings it back. And into 3 and 4, and our final heat race winner tonight is going to be Mikey Latham, the one-time feature winner at Chaptico, taking the 4th and final 3 Mules Welding hobby stock qualifying event. The 8 of Billy Krause will come home in second. 15 will be third, followed by the 75 of Watson Gordon. As that will wrap up hobby stock qualifying tonight, setting the field for tomorrow's $750 to win feature. That'll be the Jim Gardner Senior Memorial. Our thanks out to Jim Gardner Jr. once again putting up an additional $250 to the winner's share. That gives these drivers a shot at $750 to run for tomorrow night. And Jim also put up $50 for the driver that finishes in the 9th position as well. So that will add to his payday. So we thank Jim Gardner Jr. and look forward to that event coming up tomorrow night here for one of our top classes, our hobby stock division. All right, the Adams Property Works Street Stock Division. They've got 3 8-lap qualifiers coming up to finish setting their field for tomorrow night's 20-lap, $1,500 to win feature. All right, field stacked up. The first 7 as we get set to go with the Adams Property Works Street Stop qualifiers. 8 laps. Here goes Mason Hansen, Scotty Nelson, heat race number 1. Well, Hansen grabbed the lead, but here goes Nelson. Did the crossover and down to the inside. The challenge for the lead. Johnny Oliver, the 67, watching as the leaders side by side. Hansen reclaims the number 1 spot here at lap 1. Going to be Nelson in his second. Oliver holding on to third. And then the 97, followed by Trent Holmes. It should be the 97 of Holmes. He's also got the 97X of Brent Holmes out there as well, so that makes it fun out there for somebody with 2 identically prepared race cars. Leaders back to the stripe here at lap number 2, and once Hansen won that battle with Nelson, he starts to edge away. Nelson in second, fending off the efforts of Johnny Oliver, the 67, running a very tight third. He's down to the bottom side. Nelson runs the middle group. He holds on to that runner-up spot for the moment. In the 97, followed by the 2 of Deuce Wright. They are the top 5. as we get set to put halfway on the board very quickly here in Street Stock Qualifier number 1. Down the back straightaway, 28H of Hansen, commanding lead. Nelson stretches his advantage out over Oliver just a little bit, and everybody pretty much has some breathing room, position by position, as they put lap number 5 on the board here in the first Street Stock Qualifier. Still Holmes in the 97. That's Trent Holmes holding on to 4th, followed by the 2 of Deuce Wright, as a 2 to go sign comes out in Street Stock Qualifier number 1. Well, Nelson had a comfortable margin over Oliver. That is shrunk back down again, and here comes that 67. He continues to haunt him in the number 2 position with those some breeze. 1 to go out this time by. Turn advantage for Mason Hansen. Fresh off a victory in heat race number 3 in the 3 Mills Welding Hobby Stocks. Here he comes, Hansen, scoring the first Street Stock heat race victory of the Small Car Nationals weekend. 33 of Scotty Nelson will come up in second. 67 of Johnny Oliver. 97 of Trent Holmes and the 2 of Deuce Wright. They will be the top 5 here in qualifier number 1. Well, a few drivers doing double duty. We mentioned Kyle Lear in the limiteds and crates, Scotty Nelson in the streets and the crates, Mason Hansen in the hobbies and the streets. But nobody has been able to score a heat race victory in both classes, and Hansen just did that. The 28H machine in the Mechanicsville, Maryland, scoring his second heat race win in 2 different classes after he took the hobby stock heat race number 3 qualifier. All right, here we go in heat race number 2, 25. Wyatt Hansen at Waldorf, Maryland. He'll be on the pole. 2 is outside. Trip 7, that's PJ Hatcher out of Mechanicsville, Maryland. Row number 2, the M1, Wayne Hartley out of La Plata, and the 19M, Bobby Mikesell from Littlestown, Pennsylvania. In row number 4, Greg Morgan, the 53 out of Mechanicsville, and the 41 powered by Dylan Penn out of Danjaboy, Maryland. Final spot tonight, 7th on the field, the 23W, Billy Roble out of Port Republic. Street Stock winners this year, Wyatt Hansen, that 25. He scored 2 in the season. Mason Hansen got 2. Dylan Alton, Deuce Wright, 1 apiece. And the 12X of Kyle Randall, who we'll see shortly, 2-time feature winner as we get set for heat race number 2, Hansen and Hatcher. And PJ Hatcher quickly not only gets in front, but puts it right in front. Swings right down in front of the Mason Hansen machine, and PJ Hatcher grabbing the early lead. Going to be Wyatt Hansen in second. Bobby Mikesell, the 19M, the Pennsylvania driver, holding on to 3rd. Hartley feeling the pressure from behind. Here comes the 53 of Greg Morgan. 3-wide battle down the front straightaway. And that's for 3rd spot. Bobby Mikesell trying to hold on to it. Hartley and Morgan, and then Penn all make contact. Kind of an according effect over in turn 1 and 2. Everybody straightens out as the leaders make their way back for lap number 2. Going to be Hatcher and Hansen nose to tail for the number 1 spot. 19M of Mikesell holding on into the number 3 position. 4th now will be the 53 of Morgan, and the M1. That will be Wayne Hartley holding on to the number 5 spot. Hatcher and Hansen, they'd had a pretty tight gap between them. Right now begins to open up just a little bit as the leaders make their way off at turn number 4. Going to be halfway quickly in this second 8-lap qualifier. Mikesell, the 19M, holding on to 3rd. He's about a half turn back. And then going to be Hartley and Morgan. They're the tightest battle right now. Back there in 3rd, although Hansen's trying to tighten up this score up in the number 1 spot. Hatcher brings him back for lap 5. Keeping Hatcher honest. 25 of Hansen right there. 2 to go this time by for your top 2. Car length separation between them. 19 Emma Mikesell remains third. Hartley tight fourth, and a spinner in turn number 4. Going to be the 41 of Dylan Penn. That's going to bring out our latest Birch Oil, Birch Propane caution here at lap number 6. So the 41 of Dylan Penn, lone spin victim over in turn number 4, bringing out the Birch Oil, Birch Propane caution as he'll loop it back around. And that will cool off a very hot battle for that lead. PJ Hatcher's had it from the outset, but Eric Hansen or make it Wyatt Hansen, not letting him out of his sights. M1 of Wayne Hartley will tighten up behind the 19M of Bobby Mikesell, who right now runs in third. Hartley back there with Greg Morgan. They've also had a very good battle for the number 4 position. Third and final straight stock qualifier coming up in a few moments, and then a pair of limited late model heat races, and then the Strictly and U-Car features. We'll wrap up night number 1 of the Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals. All right, caution's out. We head back in the Leonardtown Ford restart zone. Hatcher at the point, going to be Hansen, Mikesell, Hartley, Morgan, and Roble. Back to green we go, and let's see what Wyatt Hansen has up his sleeve with a handful of laps to go. Got a little too close to that outside wall. Had to lift a little bit, but not too much. He's right there on the rear deck lid of PJ Hatcher as they come back. And our summer breeze white flag is in the air. Bobby Mikesell, the 19M, still within striking distance as Hansen makes one final bid way up the track, and he's got a good head of steam down the back straightaway. Hatcher trying to stop him. Hansen trying to find a way around. Here they go. Top shelf for Wyatt Hansen. He will steal heat race number 2. Oh, you can see that 25. He was probing high and low, trying to find a way around it on that final lap. He finally did. The 25, a Wyatt Hansen coming away with the second. Adams Property Works Street Stock qualifier tonight. Trip 7 of PJ Hatcher. He'll wind up in second, followed by the 19M of Bobby Mikesell. M1 of Wayne Hartley in the 53, powered by Greg Morgan, is our third and final qualifier. He gets set to hit the track. Out of the lineup, the 19 of Ronnie Dennis out of Littlestown, PA. He'll be on the pole. Two-time feature winner, the hottest driver in street stocks, the 12X, Kyle Randall out of Baltimore, Maryland, will be on his outside. Row number 2, the 92, that's Walter Crouch out of Remington, Virginia, and your defending street stock champion, the 411 of Matt Tarbox out of Mechanicsville. Row number 3, going to be the 23R, Ricky Edmonds out of Berryville, Virginia, and the 89, Scott Wilson out of Mechanicsville. And the final spot tonight, the 18, Dalton Tankersley from Pasadena, Maryland. All right, final qualifier for the Adams Property Works Street Stock Division as they get set for their 20-lap, $1,500 to win payday coming up tomorrow. All drivers will make the field as Ronnie Dennis and Kyle Randall, 2 very strong cars, set to do battle off of turn 4. Randall using that high side momentum. Ronnie Dennis likewise. Oh, trouble back in third. Going to be the 411 of Matt Tarbox. He'll spin it. Off turn 2 in trouble, another car. That's Tankersley going for a ride down the backstretch and slightly touches the inside wall. But our Birch Oil Birch Propane caution quickly back out on the track. Tarbox just lost it off that second turn. He's able to whip it back around, and Tankersley, not sure if there was a little contact further back with another car, but he did go for a little ride and a little bit of contact with that back wall. I don't think it's too severe at all. So the 18 being checked out. Again, a pair of limited late model qualifiers will be coming up to set the field for their 30-lap $2,000 to win feature event coming up tomorrow night. So just enough of a bump on that back straightaway by Tankersley that kind of hit that Jersey barrier, so we had to get the Bobcat to push it back in line with the other ones. So kind of a little bit of smooth transition from one to the next. That's been taken care of, and we're about set to get back to green here in a few moments. No laps complete here in our third and final 8-lap qualifier for the Adams Property Works Street Stocks. So it once again will be Ronnie Dennis and Kyle Randall. Very two evenly matched cars. About what we saw from the initial start. We'll see how that plays out. 92 of Walter Crouch up into third position. Again, they had their Crouch Memorial last weekend at Winchester Speedway. All right, one to go. This time by. Say 3 Potomac regulars on the outside, 3 outside invaders on the inside. Here we go, back to green. And try number 2 here in our third and final street stock qualifying event. Randall again right up on that cushion. Boy, he played that perfectly. Just drove it beautifully right there, hugging those right rear wheels on the cushion and grabbing the lead from Ronnie Dennis here on lap number 1. And he will indeed have that lead. Third spot going in there to the 92 of Walter Crouch. Tarbox at the 411 will tuck up into 4th. And top 5 made up by the 23 of Ricky Evans. Trouble for Tankersley. He kind of got a little bit of shape off at turn number 1 and 2. And now looks like he's going to dive it down to the bottom side as we stay green with 2 laps complete here in our third and final street stock qualifier. Is chipping away, trying to find a way around that Randall machine. He's right on the rear decklet as they work it back into 3 and 4. Randall giving him some racing room down bottom, but Ronnie Dennis not quite able to make that move and draw even in the corners. There's Randall. He is right up on the cushion in turn number 2 and holds that lead. Dennis right behind him. 92 of Walter Crouch not far behind. He's only 3 car lengths back looking on. And trouble again, this time Carbox in that 411 Up in turn number 2, up against the outside retaining wall, and that brings out our latest virtual Birch propane caution. Tough break for the 89, Scott Wilson, as he is up in turn number 2, and that brings out our latest virtual Birch propane caution tonight. Good battle up front. Randall and Dennis with 3 of our 8 laps complete. All right, caution lights out. 1 lap shy of halfway in our 3rd and final street stock qualifier. Kyle Randall, Ronnie Dennis, Walter Crouch, Ricky Edmonds. 1 local against 3 outside. Well, I wouldn't say 3 outside invaders. Ricky was with us and finished 4th in our points, but Kyle, the 2-time feature winner, and he's got a couple of them sandwiched in between he and Ricky Edmonds as they go back to green. And our front 4 machines nose to tail as they work down the back straightaway, and they'll close in on the halfway sign as there'll be 4 down and 4 to go here in tonight's final street stock qualifier. Still Kyle Randall running a great line through those corners. Ronnie Dennis trying to figure that out. The 19 is staying within striking distance, only a car length back in 2nd. Walter Crouch at the 92, he's right there as well. Lap number 5 going on the board this time behind 23R. Ricky Edmonds in 4th as they'll be looking at the 2 to go sign off at turn number 4 this time by. Randall along with Wyatt and Mason Hansen, 2-time winners in the streets this year. Nobody's been able to get to 3. By the way Randall's been running, well, tomorrow could be his day. You never know as he works it high in turn 3 and 4. Ronnie Dennis still keeping the pressure on. The summer breeze, white flag in the air. 92 Walter Crouch, a few car lengths back in 3rd, followed by the 23R Ricky Edmonds. Again, it's Dennis trying one last-ditch effort, and that cost him. He had to really get off on the binders to not make contact with Randall, and Crouch was right there, but it's going to be Kyle Randall taking the victory in qualifier number 4. Dennis in 2nd, Walter Crouch in 3rd, and the 23R, Ricky Edmonds, he will be the top 4 in our final Adams Property Works Street Stock Qualifier. So Randall keeps his winning ways going, the 2-time feature winner, taking the 3rd and final Street Stock Qualifier. All right, coming up in a few moments, it will be 2 heat race qualifiers for the Lexington Park Chevrolet Buick GMC Limited Late Models, and then after that, our Strictly and U-Car feature events will be coming. All right, as our Lexington Park Chevrolet Buick GMC Limited Late Models get into the St. Mary's Lighting Staging area, 10 laps will be the distance in a pair of heat races tonight, and here's how they'll line up. Starting on the pole in heat race number 1, that'll be the 6 being powered by Austin Latham out of Mechanicsville, Maryland. Top qualifier tonight in limited late model time trials. 2 is outside, the 36 of Sam Archer out of Waldorf, Maryland. Row number 2, your 2025 limited late model champion, the number 8 of Jeremy Pilkerton from Loveville. And 2 is outside, the 25, Jonathan Rayleigh from Hollywood. Row number 3, Keith Walls in that 462 out of St. Thomas, Pennsylvania. And the 34 being powered by Richard Culver out of La Plata, Maryland. Final spot in heat race number 1 going to be the 0, Lewis Hudson out of Waynesboro, Virginia. And it looks like the 462 of Keith Walls not answering the bell. Keith had a lot of smoke coming from that car during his time trials earlier tonight, so he may be 1 short in our limited late model heat race first qualifier tonight. Again, 10 laps will be the distance in these. Coming up next going to be our 20-lap finale for the year for our A.J. Fenwick Septic Service Strictly Stock Division. Their feature will be next. It's a Leonardtown Ford start zone. Lathrop, Archer, 10 laps for the limited late models in qualifier number 1 in the Southern Maryland Small Car National. Archer trying to get that high side momentum, and indeed he does. Gets around Lathrop. Now Rayleigh going to challenge to the inside for the number 2 position early. Oh, just almost making contact. Lathrop almost spins it, gathers it back up. Somehow he and Rayleigh missed contact as Rayleigh goes into second. Going to be Pilkington's number 8 machine up into third. Richard Culver fourth, and now Lathrop drop kick back to the number 5 spot as Archer brings him back quickly for lap number 2 of 10. Pilkington, meanwhile, trying to hold on to the number 3 spot, and Lathrop trying to rebuild and get back towards the front. He gets to the inside of the 34 at Culver. That will put him back up into 4th here at lap number 3. All the while, Sam Archer with about a 5-car length advantage, the same gap back from Jonathan Rayleigh, who's running second, back to Jeremy Pilkington as we close in on halfway in the first qualifier. 4 laps are complete here in tonight's 10-lap qualifying event. Lathrop recovering nicely, not only getting around Culver, but closing the gap on the front 3 as we put halfway on the board. 5 in the books and 5 to head on back home in this 10-lap qualifier. And you can see Lathrop really recovering nicely, closing right up on the back end of Jeremy Pilkington in the battle for the number 3 position. Top 4 drivers across the stripe here at lap number 6. Still Archer in control. Give him about 3 to 4 car lengths over Rayleigh, a couple more back. But trouble in turn 4, and that's going to be Culver and also Lewis Hudson bringing out the Birch Oil Birch Propane Yellow here at lap number 6 of tonight's first 10-lap qualifier. Culver able to move off into the pits as they work on Hudson's machine. Called Austin Lathrop, although he did almost loop it and lost some positions. As that race wore on, those first 6 laps, you can see that red number 6 making his way up to the front 3 machines. So it's going to be very interesting on this restart with those front 4 cars and the remaining 4 laps in tonight's first 10-lap qualifier. Well, just trying to do a fair warning to a few of our onlookers outside of turn number 2 from outside. Just don't want to see anybody get hurt. If you're that close to the racetrack right there, anything can happen. So just trying to make sure that our guest over there in the second turn can head on back over and away. All right, field reset. 4 laps to go as we head back to the Leonardtown Ford restart zone and our green flag back out. Stormwater management green each and every time as Sam Archer up to the gearbox. Right now, 3-car length advantage over Jonathan Rayleigh. We mentioned Austin Latham had been closing on those front 3. And right now goes to work on Jeremy Pilkington. Very tight top 4. Followed by the 0 of Lewis Hudson back in 5th. 7 laps are complete. We're coming to 2 to go. Archer, a one-time feature winner in limited late model action, taking the 2 to go sign this time by, as we mentioned, it's 10 laps, so that's 8 and 2 to go here in tonight's first qualifier. Jonathan Rayleigh remaining a very good second with Jeremy Pilkington and Austin Latham right on his heels. Tight top 3. Make it 4 as nobody can make a mistake. Anybody slips, it's over with. White flag was out that time by Sam Archer. Looks like he's going to collect the first of 2 limited late model checkered flags tonight. Jonathan Rayleigh, Jeremy Pilkington, Jamie Latham, and Lewis Hudson. They'll be the top 5 in limited late model qualifier number 1. So Sam Archer, the one-time feature winner, taking the first limited late model win in heat race action. Good battle between those front 4. Jonathan Rayleigh, Jeremy Pilkington, Austin Latham, with Lewis Hudson in the 0, rounding out the top 5. All right, here's how they're starting qualifier number 2. This will be our last heat race of the night before we have our pair of feature events for Strictly's and U-Cars. Going to be the 08 of Joey Love at La Plata, Maryland. Great qualifying run. He qualified second. However, he had some issues off at turn number 2 and pulled up. Wondered whether he could have gotten that fast lap, but he will again be the number 2 qualifier right now and start on the pole here in heat race number 2. On the outside, going to be the 82, former Potomac Speedway, Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals Limited Late Model Champion. That's Andy Friesen of Mercersburg, Pennsylvania. Row number 2 going to be the 151 of Kyle Lear out of Savannah Park, Maryland. And the Trip 0, Dale Murphy out of Stevensville, Maryland. Row number 3, the 81, Daniel Garrett from Freeland, Maryland. And the 88C of Chuck Cox out of Baltimore. And the final spot tonight going to be the 24K of Jeff King out of Pasadena. All right, field stacked up, ready to do battle down the back straightaway. The 08 Joey Love, the 82 of Andy Friesen. He will be on the front row. 151 of Kyle Lear. Trip 0, Dale Murphy on the outside as we get set for the final 10-lap qualifier of the night. Andy Friesen trying to win that battle on the outside, but Joey Love had other ideas, pinched him up high, and that opened the door for Kyle Lear quickly to go in the second of that 151 machine. Lear digging even more, and a spin further back. 24K, Jeff King, and he will bring out the first Birch propane caution here in limited late model heat race number 2. Able to pull away under his own power, but not been a good night for Jeff King. Literally lifted all 4 wheels off the ground when he went into turn number 1 for his qualifying effort, slammed it back down, had some issues and went to pits, and spinning here by his lonesome in turn 3 and 4 on lap number 1. So he will rejoin the field at the rear. Lap is complete as it will be Love from the point. Kyle Lear will be his challenger on the outside this time with Andy Friesen and Dale Murphy back in row number 2. Coming up next, our 20-lapper for the A.J. Fenwick Septic Service Strictly Stock Division, and then the 20-lap finale for the Great Mills Trading Post U-Cars. 2 features still to come right after this limited late model qualifier. Heading back in the Leonardtown Ford restart zone. Going to be Love at the Point, the one-time limited late model feature winner this year. As green is back out. Stormwater Management, green flag back in the air. Love will grab the lead and almost looked like it wanted to be a four-wide battle for second initially, the way they were fanned out. Andy Freese of the 82 trying to grab that number 2 spot. Going to be the 151 of Kyle Lear right there in third. Trip 0 of Dale Murphy. And the 81 of Danny Garrett. He has got, DJ Garrett's got some right rear damage on that quarter panel. And right now holding on to fifth. But Joey Love right now in control. Quarter of a turn lead here in the early going. 3 laps complete. Freese running up against a cushion. Kyle Lear down low, and it's going to be Freese opening up a good advantage in second by about 3 or 4 car lengths. Murphy in the 000 still holding on to fourth. 81 and DJ Garrett, the top 5. Halfway on the board this time by all Joey Love in the 08 machine. Number 2 qualifier in time trials. Driver out of La Plata, Maryland. He puts 5 in the books, and he's got 5 to go. Andy Freese well in control in second. Looking very good in that 82 machine. First time down for the driver to Mercersburg, PA. 151 of Kyle Lear. He has not run much in limiteds. When he has, he's been on the charge after drivers like Austin Lathrop or Jeremy Pilgrim trying to get wins. He's got a crate win, but he's still had a very accomplished season so far in limited late model racing and other racetracks as well. 7 laps complete that time by, as it's going to be Love pouring off a turn number 2 with a half straightaway lead. Chuck Cox off the pace as Love clears him. Cox heads into the pit area. Leaders coming off at turn number 4. Going to be the white flag. The Summer Breeze. 1 to go in the air this time by. All Joey Love and Andy Freese. 151 of Kyle Lear. A good straightaway back in third. Followed by Dale Murphy and DJ Garrett. But off turn 4, Joey Love backs up that number 2 qualifying performance with the heat race win. And qualifier number 2 for the Lexington Park Chevrolet Buick GMC. Limited late models. The 82 of Andy Freese will come home in second. The 151 of Kyle Lear third. 000 of Dale Murphy and the 81 of DJ Garrett. They will be the top 5 in the final limited late model qualifier of the night. Tomorrow, 30 laps, $2,000 to the winner. And their feature event as they wrap up their qualifying for the night. Coming up in a few moments, going to be our 20-lapper for the A.J. Fenwick Septic Service Strictly Stock Division and their finale for the year. And that will be followed by the 20-lapper for the Great Mills Trading Post U-Cars. As the Strictly's get lined up, that's the A.J. Fenwick Septic Service Strictly Stock Division. Going to be the 90 of Nabil Guffey. He's going to be starting up front. Alongside of the 55 is Sean Halsair. Guffey out of Charlotte Hall. Halsair from Mechanicsville. Row number 2 going to be the 27X, the rookie and 2-time feature winner, Brandon Crenshaw out of California. And the 3X scheduled to go, that would be Garrett Cobb. Halsair actually will be on the pole, going to be Guffey, and that number 92 is outside Crenshaw, the 27X, and the 04 tonight. That's your champion in Strictly Stock competition this year. That is Greg Catfish Mattingly. That is the George Neal machine that Catfish is going to be driving. Car number 39 to the inside of row number 3. That is going to be Daniel Canodi. And that driver hails out of Inwood, Maryland. And to his outside, going to be the 20 of Jack Regier out of Newburgh, Maryland. 27 to John Hardesty. He'll be on the inside of row number 4 for the driver hailing into Charlotte Hall, Maryland. Joining him, going to be the 6, powered by Sarah Culver out of La Plata. Car number 96 also out there tonight. That is going to be Mason Foster out of Mechanicsville. And the 83R will be powered by George Birch. We mentioned George had been running the U-Car in the 69 machine. We'll tell you more about why he's in this car and somebody else is in the other one when the U-Cars start. But George Birch in the 83R, normally piloted by Dave Rutherford Jr. He'll get this here in our 20 laps Strictly Stock main event being brought to you by A.J. Fenwick Septic Service. And it will be Nabil Guffey grabbing that early lead. Defending champion in our strictly stock division, looking to see if he can secure yet another victory. Guffey, a two-time feature winner in 2025 here at Potomac. He's holding the 55 and there in second spot. 04 of Matty Lee, he claimed third. Now Crenshaw, the 27X, he's peeking to his inside. He wants to see if he can reclaim that position. And the 20 of Jack Regier, he'll be the top 5 as they come back and complete lap number 2. Guffey the leader. It's going to be Houser, only a couple of car lengths back in second. A little bit of a gap back to Matty Lee, only about 6 or 7 car lengths. And Crenshaw keeping the pressure on him back in 4th. Regier holding on to 5th. And again, Cadoto in that 29 rounds out the top 6 positions right now. 7th is Sarah Cole. As Houser continues to take peeks on the inside of Guffey. Not to be right now. 4 laps will be complete here in our feature event. Guffey right in the middle of the racetrack. Houser trying to dirt track her a little bit down bottom. See if he can gain some momentum. Now holds on to second. So single file on the top 4, not too far apart. It's evenly spaced out. About 2 or 3 car lengths between those front 4 machines. Then back in 5th, Jack Regier is feeling the pressure of 39 of Daniel Cadoto, who is trying to get around him. Hardesty further back in the field to the 27, holding on to the number 7 spot. And problems happening, and caution is coming out on the Speedway. The virtual Birch propane caution is out. Looks like we may have debris up in turn 1 and 2. That will bring out our first caution of the night in the strictly stock feature, as we are a quarter of the way through. 5 of the 20 are complete. All right, 5 laps complete as we get set to get back to green. Nabil Guffey takes us back into turn number 1 and 2. Houser again. Cocks it sideways and tries to see if he can find that inside line. Just not there. Guffey just steps on the gas and is able to keep that high side momentum. And just enough in front. Houser not giving up as he continues to battle hard for the number 1 spot. Crenshaw, the 27X, meanwhile, has taken over third. Catfish Manley has dropped back a few spots. Problems on the 04. He's in the George Neal machine. He's high in the groove in turn number 1 and 2. And this year's champion now going to have some issues as the leaders make their way off at turn number 4. Coming back for lap number 7 as Manley may bring out another caution, and indeed does. Not going to be able to make it back to the pits. And our latest Birch Oil, Birch Propane Caution, coming out here at lap number 7 for the 04 of Catfish Manley. Mattingly grabbing 4 wins this year en route to the championship. Nabil Guffey, your leader in the number 90, the defending champ, a 2-time winner this year. And we mentioned Brandon Crenshaw, that 27X, having a good season likewise. 2 times a winner as the rookie. 20 of Jack Regier, he was top 5. Now he's pulled the 20 off into the pit area likewise. And also the 55 of Sean Houser. He's in. It looks like a right rear flat. So a tough break for a lot of our top 5 runners on that segment. And we'll shuffle the deck indeed, but at least we know it's Guffey and Crenshaw. They will be the front 2. Hey, Jack, we appreciated that. What a great effort. The 20, you went on pit road, but you know what? Take a shot. See if you can get up there in your old starting spot. So Jack will go to the back. U-Cars will be wrapping things up tonight here on Small Car Nationals qualifying night. Glad to have you with us, and certainly hope you can join us tomorrow. Going to be a beautiful day weather-wise, and hopefully the weather in the evening time is still going to be good. Starting at 6:30 with the warm-ups and going from there. Got some special presentations to make tomorrow here at the Speedway during our opening ceremonies. Going to be a very special night of racing, so certainly hope you can join us tomorrow here at Potomac. And don't forget, coming up on Saturday, November 1st, the Fall Clash, $10,000 to win super late model event for some of the best drivers in the region. And should be a good one coming up. And we'll have more details in the coming weeks. $50-50 is going to be announced after our victory lane ceremonies for the Strictly Stocks coming up. So I know it's a little chilly out there, so if you can hold tight, if you got a 50-50 ticket, we're going to be calling that during the victory lane ceremonies for the Strictly Stock drivers as well. Caution outfield back into Leonardtown Ford restart zone. 7 down, 13 to go. It's been all Nabil Guffey so far, but now he's got a new player behind him, Brendan Crenshaw on the 27X. Let's see what happens on the restart. Crenshaw had worked him. Halser in the 55 had done it earlier. Now we'll see if Sean can rebound and get himself back up there. 39 of Daniel Knoebel. He's the only one of the few in that top 5 that didn't have issues. He's been able to benefit and move up into 3rd. As those top 3 drivers peel off and come back for lap number 8 in tonight's feature event. 4th on the track right now, the 6 of Sarah Culver, top 5 made up by the 96 Mason Foster. And again, some of her top 5 running machines had some issues, and they're having to come from the back of the field. Meanwhile, a good war being waged for the lead. Crenshaw inside, then he took a peek on the outside in the entrance of turn 3, the exit of 4, back down to the inside. And all said and done, just a car-length separation between he and Nabil Guffey for the number 1 spot. Guffey's been able to hold off a couple of good challengers, 55 a Halsair, and now the 27X of Crenshaw. Halsair, meanwhile, has worked himself back up into 6th. As the leaders come back, it'll be halfway on the board this time by. 10 in the books and 10 to go here at tonight's Strictly Stock main event. '39 of Daniel Knoebel, still having a very solid 3rd. And again, Sarah Culver in the number 6 at La Plata, holding on to 4th. 55 of Sean Halsair is in the number 5 position. He just got around the Mason Foster machine, so he plucks off one more spot. Leaders making their way back. Lap number 12 will be complete when they come to the stripe this time. Good valiant effort by Sean Halsair in the 55. He had to start at the rear end of the field after issues, and now he's pressuring Sarah Culver in the 6. Right now, that's the ongoing battle for 4th as Halsair continues to dig himself out of a hole. Culver's got the edge for the moment, but Halsair is still working her to the inside. Not missing anything up front. Top 3 still very secure as Halsair now takes over the number 4 position, puts the 6 of Culver back into 5th as we come back for lap number 14. Still all Guffey, and right now he's opened up a little bit of breathing room, not much, over the 27X of Crenshaw. When I say not much, I mean about a car length and a half. And they work on the 3X machine down the back straightaway. That's going to be Garrett Cobb, the lap machine, in turn 3 and 4 as we hit 5 laps to go. And trouble for Halsair. Oh my, the 55. What a great job of digging himself back up into a top 5 run. And our latest Birch Oil Birch Propane caution is back out. So issues hit the 55 of Sean Halsair again, but what a great effort he did from the back of the field after a caution and a pit stop to get himself around Sarah Culver and moments ago up into the 4th position. And now he has left the second turn under his own power. Nabil Guffey will continue to be our leader as we have got just a few laps left to go here in tonight's Strictly Stock main event. 27X of Brendan Crenshaw remains in second. 39, Daniel Canodal in third. 20 of Jack Bergier will be 4th, it appears, as we get set to get back to green here in a few moments. By the way, folks, in this Strictly Stock division earlier this year, unfortunately, one of our drivers, James Stone, was involved in a very serious motorcycle accident on the street. We did a pass the helmet here earlier this year for him and tried to raise some money. I believe James was in the infield with us tonight. And if James, if you're still there, glad to have you back here at Potomac Speedway. We know you can't get behind the wheel of a car right now, but you know what? Glad to see you and have you back at Potomac Speedway watching some Strictly Stock action. Hope you're still on the mend and things are going well, my friend. Again, our 50-50 will be announced at our Strictly Stock Victory Lane ceremonies, and that will just leave the 20-lapper for the Great Mills Trading Post U-Cars, which will be coming up shortly. Caution lights are out. We're set to get back to green. Nabil Guffey's led from the outset. Brendan Crenshaw, David Canodal. They are the top 3, followed by the 20 of Jack Bergier and the 6 of Sarah Culver. 5 laps to go. Another driver trying to work his way from the back. The 04 of Greg Manningley, this year's champion. He works hard on the Sarah Culver machine. And to the inside of the number 6. And looks like Manningley will get the number 5 position as we come back for lap number 17. Guffey by a few car lengths over Crenshaw. Another 4 or 5 back to David or Daniel Canodal. And then Culver in that number 6. make it Rozier in the 20. Culver just dropped the spot to the 04 Mattingly. Culver will be back in the 6th spot. Going to be Foster in 7th. Hardesty holding on to 8th. Cobb in 9th as we come back for 2 laps to go. So the biggest lead that Guffey has had, he has really been pressured by Halcyon early, and then the 27X of Brendan Crenshaw. But it looks like things have changed quite a bit here in the latter stages. As our summer breeze, 1 to go, is in the air. Guffey in search of that 3rd strictly stock feature event victory of the season. 27X Brendan Crenshaw down the back straightaway. Top 4 pretty much evenly spaced out, and Nabil Guffey will check in. Win number 3 for the 2025 season. The AJ Fenwick Septic Service strictly stock division. 27X of Brendan Crenshaw will come up in 2nd. 39 of Daniel Cadoto 3rd. Followed by the 04 Greg Mattingly. Or making the 20 of Jack Rozier, I should say. He'll be up in there as well. He'll be 5th. And again, our thanks out to AJ Fenwick Septic Service, our official sponsor of the Strictly Stock all season long. I believe you'll see some of these cars or drivers that run these cars and maybe get other cars that will be part of that Enduro 100. So this is a style of machine that we normally see in the Enduros. So look for that coming up on Saturday, November 8th here at Potomac Speedway. Big Enduro 100 race as we will head down to the VP Fuels victory lane in a few moments. Nabil Guffey again checking in with his 3rd victory of the 2025 season. Only 3 drivers found their way to victory lane. Mattingly for 4, Guffey for 3, and rookie driver Brendan Crenshaw came away with 2 feature event victories in the 2025 year. Great Mills Trading Post U cars getting lined up at the St. Mary's Lighting staging area. They'll be set for their 20-lap finale coming up here in a few moments. All right, looks like we finally got Nabil working his way through the pit area, and he'll be making his way down into VP Fuels Racing victory lane. Again, our final strictly stock event of the 2025 season. Again, our thanks out to AJ Fenwick Septic Service, the official sponsor of our strictly stock class here in the 2025 season here at Potomac Speedway. Great Mills Trading Post U cars will be coming up here in a few moments. But in the meantime, it took us all the way until tonight to finally get something out of Billy Hill. Billy, wake up and talk to somebody down in VP Racing Fuels victory lane. My voice is tired.
Okay, race fans, tonight's strictly stock feature winner for the 3rd time this season, Nabil Guffey. Nabil, this car is always strong when it starts on the front row and to start on the outside pole. And you had some challenges there from Halcyon and Crenshaw towards the end, but you had about a 5 or 6. Once you got out there, they just couldn't get around. You want to talk about that race?
Yeah, this car loves that clean air. Just try to keep it smooth and speedy, and took it all the way 20 laps, baby.
Yeah, definitely give you a little bit more laps here in Nationals, and you're no stranger to victory lane here. I'm sure it takes some people to help you get this car here week in and week out. I want to thank those people.
Yeah, I'd like to thank, first of all, my father-in-law, John Hardesty, for getting me started in this. And on my pit crew, got my buddy Norm, some of my students from the Tech Center here tonight, so it's awesome.
Well, that's awesome. You also got to thank these fans that stuck around here to the end of the night to watch you guys run your feature.
Yeah, I want to thank all the fans. You guys are awesome. And have a good evening. Thank you.
All right, we're going to get you to draw the 50-50 here before you walk away. I know everybody's waiting for this. Winner gets $404. 50-50 ticket number 684-248. 684-248. Miss Crystal here has your money. Thank you. All right, buddy, back up to you.
See you in like 20.
Billy, thanks a lot. Again, our congratulations out to Nabil for his 3rd strictly stock feature event victory of the 2025 season here at Potomac. And once again, if you like that style of car, and of course, we will have an Enduro 100 that will be coming up on Saturday, November the 8th. That will be the next time some of our strictly stock style cars will have a chance to do some big endurance racing. In more details, be sure and pay attention to the Potomac Speedway Facebook page and more details on the upcoming events, including that November 1st Fall Clash Super Late Model Series event. All right, here as we get set for the finale of the night, 20 laps for the Great Mills Trading Post U-Car Division, and here is how they will line up. Going to be the 7C, powered by Junior Cardwell out of South Boston, Virginia, starting up on the pole. Join alongside the 69. This is the car that George Birch normally drives. Faith Lacey, our defending U-Car champion and one-time feature winner this year, will be on the outside. That 69, that driver hailing out of Clements, Maryland. Row number 2, going to be the 89, Thomas Windsor out of Indian Head, and joining him, car number 91. He's a 3-time winner of the U-Cars this year, out of Winchester, Virginia, Alan Griffith. Row 3, that's where your new champion's going to be found. The 48 of Brooke Bowles out of Leonardtown, and on her outside, the 27 of Richard Martin out of Port Tobacco. In row number 4, it's the Trip 7, Keith Brown from Lexington Park. And on his outside, Brody Guy out of Aquasco, Maryland, in car number 99. Row number 5 tonight, Joe Suit, car number 9, in Chaptico, Maryland. And starting 10th, going to be the 7 of Nicholas Weber out of Leonardtown. And the final row in our 12-car starting field, the 15 of Ryan Martin out of Port Tobacco, Maryland. He'll start on the inside of row number 6. To his outside, Travis Dye, and the number 23 out of Indian Head. All right, final feature of the night, final race of the night, we should say. We've only had 2 features, but a lot of qualifying to do, and we will have the table set for all those classes tomorrow here at Potomac. We get set to go here in our final feature tonight for the U-Car Division, final time of the season. Junior Cardwell on that 7C, Faith Lacey in the 69. Green is about out here in the Leonardtown Ford start zone. Cardwell, the 7C, made an appearance last weekend here at Potomac. Lacey, 69, will be in second spot when they head down the back straightaway. 2x2 racing, Griffith and Windsor are battling pretty good back there for third. Going to be Cardwell trying to lead that first lap. Going to be Lacey on the outside, the 69. She will grab the number 1 position here on lap number 1. Cardwell back into second. Griffith almost ran over top of him. Cardwell had to get off track of that 7C machine and off the pace down the back straightaway, trying to grab a gear and see if he can continue on. Meanwhile, Lacey working her way back to the stripe. It'll be 2 laps completed. This 20-lapper. Griffith will be second. 89 of Windsor third. 48 of Brooke Bowles in the number 4 spot. And the Trip 7 of Keith Brown, the early top 5. Challenge for third. Windsor. Oh, and the 48 of Bowles. Those 2 drivers almost both went to wall. And now it's going to be the Trip 7 of Keith Brown. A little contact made up there. A little dicey out there and punchy here in the latter stages of tonight's racing activities. Caution now, 2 laps complete. Going to be Lacey in the 69 as your leader. The 91, the 3-time winner Alan Griffith in second. 89 of Windsor in third. 48 of Bowles. And the 99 of Brody Guy. Top 5 as we get set to go back to green. Field back in green indeed as Junior Cardwell, the number 7, he tried to rebound after having some issues early in turn number 1 and 2. After having the early lead, he and Brody Guy have a good battle. That's just outside the top 5. And Brody will have the 5th spot. Junior trying back in 6th as Faith Lacey, your leader, 2 car lengths better than Alan Griffith. Another 5 back to the 89 of Thomas Windsor. Here comes Brody Guy, the 99, to the outside of Brooke Bowles. That will put him up into the number 4 position as they come back for lap number 4. Meanwhile, Griffith up front challenging down bottom, but Faith Lacey's got the preferred groove in the 69. She holds that lead. Windsor, meanwhile, 5 car lengths back in third. Kind of got no man's land area working for him right now. He's a little bit back from the top 2, a little bit of a gap over Brooke Bowles. And then the 99 of Brody Guy, the top 5. The 9 of Joe Suit back in 6. Trip 7 of Keith Brown. He's worked himself back up into 7th. And then it's going to be Cardwell holding on to 8th. Those are the cars remaining of the 12 that started tonight's feature event as we come back for lap number 6. Challenge on the track only for the number 5 spot. Brown to the inside of Joe Suit trying to get that position as Lacey tries to stretch her lead out. 7 complete this time by Griffith at 91, a few car lengths back in third, second, followed by the 89 of Windsor and the 48 of Brooke Bowles. Suit and Brown continue to have their own private battle for the number 5 spot. Give it back to Suit for the moment as the leaders come back for that 8th circuit. Bowles and Windsor having their battle for third right now as the top 2 are secure. For the moment, going to be Windsor still with that 3rd position. Bowles in 4th, and the battle for 5th still good. Keith Brown to the inside of Joe Suit as we close in on halfway in tonight's 20-lap main event. So Brown will get that spot on an entrance of 1 and 2, but then Suit does the crossover move and tries to challenge him. Bowles, meanwhile, to the inside of Windsor. They make a little contact, and Brooke Bowles now up into 3rd. Halfway, 10 in the books and 10 to go here in tonight's Great Mills Trading Post U-Car main event. Alan Griffith that challenged Faith Lacey on the initial start, a restart, but Lacey little by little has been able to edge away to about a good 7 or 8 car length advantage. They've got a good lead over the 48 of Bowles, who has opened up a couple car lengths over Thomas Windsor. Keith Brown eventually has won that battle with Joe Suit and is solidly in the number 5 spot here at lap number 12. And the battle between Bowles and Windsor not going away as Windsor continues to work her pretty good. Brooks got that 3rd spot, but Windsor winds it up off the turns. Car length separation between those 2 drivers as they come back. Lap number 14 about to be complete. And the interval between 1st and 2nd begin to shrink up a little bit too. Just a few car lengths between Lacey and Griffith as they'll look at the 5 to go sign when they come back, and we may see a caution. Before that, it is going to be our latest Birch Propane caution, and unfortunately looks to be the 48 of Brooke Bowles having her issues here on lap number 14. Down to our final 6 circuits. Faith Lacey, Alan Griffith, Thomas Windsor, Keith Brown, Joe Suit, and Junior Cardwell, your pole sitter, as we get set to go back to green. And the U-Car is wrapping up their season. Our thanks out to Great Mills Trading Post as their official sponsor of their class this year. And a great job by David and Missy. Great sponsorship. The beautiful billboards down the back straightaway. A lot of the signs here on the jersey barriers on the front stretch. Class sponsorships, banners all over. They have done a fantastic job, and our thanks out to them and all of our sponsors for 2025. All right, set in the Leonardtown Ford restart zone. Going to be Lacey trying to get up to the gearbox, and Griffith with a great restart. They are side by side, off into 1 and 2. Griffith to the high side. Lacey going to do a little rubbing right now. And Griffith slams a wall. Those two drivers making contact. Hard battle for the lead. And Griffith with some damage on the front of that 91 machine. A caution quickly right back out. The three-time winner, Alan Griffith, he had a good jump on the restart down the front straightaway. Those two were rubbing some serious sheet metal coming off of that second turn, and Griffith was on that high side. No give on either side, and made some contact with that outside retaining wall. So that'll bring out our latest Birch Oil, Birch Propane caution for the night. All right, just brought the ambulance over for a precautionary measure. Alan Griffith is okay. Everything's fine with him. Just a little discomfort, but he is okay. All right, set for the restart. The final 6 laps as we get set for the green again in the Leonardtown Ford restart zone. Cautions is made to Keith Brown. He had some issues early, and he's been able to fight his way back up into third as he challenges Thomas Windsor off of turn number 2. Falls back into third. Cardwell now up to fourth. Joe Suit in fifth as we've got 5 laps to go here in tonight's finale. Well, all Faith Lacey in that 69. She has had a few challengers here and there, but by and large, having herself a good race tonight in that 69 that George Birch normally drives. George stepping up into the Strickleys tonight. Taking it down the back chute. Right now, a good lead over Thomas Windsor. He's fending off this trip 7 of Keith Brown right now. Windsor up high, Brown down low as they come back for lap number 17. Two to go, that time by. And the battle for second still on. Brown and Windsor side by side, back in 1 and 2. Brown gets the edge by about a quarter of a car length down the back chute, and Faith Lacey with a full turn advantage takes the Summer Breeze white flag. Now, final lap tonight here in round number 1 of the Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals. Our final event for the Great Mills Trading Post U-Cars. Faith Lacey, the first winner of the year, and she wins a tail-end race in the U-Car competition, picking up her second of the 2025 season. Trip 7 of Keith Brown. He'll edge 89 to Thomas Windsor and come home in second, followed by the 9 of Joe Suit in fourth. And the 7, Junior Cardwell. They will be the drivers rounding out the top 5 here in tonight's 20-lap finale. Well, fans, that will wrap it up. It has been a busy night. A lot of qualifying in the latest edition of the Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals here at Potomac Speedway. But again, indeed, the fields are set pretty much. Limited late models, crates, street stocks, and hobbies will have their feature events coming up tomorrow. Again, don't forget, the SCDRA Roadsters will be here. They'll have their hot lap qualifying and then their 20-lap, $300 to win feature event. Gates will open at 1:30 tomorrow. Don't forget, the Copper Pennies will be here tomorrow from 2 to 6 p.m. And you can enjoy some good music and a great atmosphere as we get set for our latest edition of the Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals. Well, once again, Faith Lacey, the winner at the beginning of the season in the 45 car, and she picks up the latest one in the 69, second of the season, and we will take it down into VP Racing Fuels Victory Lane with our final feature event winner tonight, and Billy Hill.
Okay, race fans, give it up for tonight's U-Car feature winner for the second time this season, Faith Lacey. Well, congratulations on your second win of the year. The last time I think you raced here, maybe that wall over there, you're in a different car.
Actually, that was my old car.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, starting on the front row here in this class definitely makes a big deal, and you were able to take the lead early and hold it, and you know, you and Griffith had a pretty good race going on there on that restart, but you were able to pull away and take the win. Let's talk about that run.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened. I mean, I seen him on the outside here, and I was running my line, and then we came out of the turn. And then,
Microphone cuts out a little bit.
yeah, we came out of the turn, and then he touched me, got into me a little bit, got me swirling, but I stayed on it. I wasn't lifting because that's what they're trying to do. They've been trying to take me out all year, the last couple of years, and we're tired of it. Asked me to run his car for Nationals. I said, I'll do it. So, you know, this is the best his car's ever ran ever since he's owned it and built it. So, you know, it feels so good to win in somebody else's car other than mine. So here's to all of them that think that we're cheating, which we ain't. It just shows it's a driver. So, but I already heard that they're ready to fight. So.
Well, you're definitely no stranger to victory lane here. Multiple feature wins, a championship win. I know it takes a lot of people to get this car here week in and week out. Even if you just come out and drive it here for Nationals, there's got to be some people you want to thank for that.
Yeah, I would like to thank my parents, mom and dad, with SLR Heavy Equipment Painting, which is also a sponsor on George's car. Big Mo's Frame Repair, he's been a lot of help within the last couple years on all of our cars, including George's. Great Mo's Trading Post, they've been a long-time sponsor. Motorsports, Somerville Motorsports, Bowles Mobilglass, CJ's Metal. I really don't know who else is sponsors on these cars. I know he ain't got much, but.
And you definitely got to thank the fans that stayed stuck out here and watched you guys put on a show.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody that stayed here till this time of the night. I don't know if you for our feature because all night around. But thank you to everybody that stayed around and watched our race and, you know, supporting the track and stuff.
All right, well, congratulations on a well-deserved Nationals victory lane.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
It's also my
First Nationals.
Yep, so that's another big accomplishment.
That's right. All right, well, congratulations, young lady, and enjoy victory lane. All right, race fans, that's going to do it here for us tonight at Potomac Speedway. Come on out tomorrow for the round 2 of the Nationals. Back up to you, buddy.
All right, Billy, again, thank you very much, everybody, for being here. We hit it right at the midnight hour, but a lot of stuff that we had to get taken care of tonight. Congratulations out to our 2 winners tonight, Nabil Guffey and Faith Lacey in our Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals. And we will see you back here tomorrow. Again, gates open at 1:30. Copper Pennies and their live entertainment from 2 to 6 p.m. Warm-ups at 6:30. Limited late models, crates, streets, hobbies, and the SCDRA Roadsters. On behalf of David and Missy Williams, Billy Hill, I'm Buddy Long. Having a great night, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for the championship round of the Southern Maryland Small Car Nationals.